Hello, I'm Dr. Susan Kaye, and I'm here with my life partner, Jerry. And we're here today to talk about the ins and outs of living life with a sexologist, which is me. I am a sex therapist, sex educator, and have been in a relationship myself for the past 20 years. And yet I coach other people on how to have great communication, how to say what they like and what they don't like. And yet I find that sometimes in our own relationship, my own personal relationship, that doesn't always occur in the way that I give my clients homework assignments, and I tell them they have to come back and report to me how their assignments went. So today we're going to take a look at what does it mean to have an intimate relationship in the modern society of robots and porn right there on your computer, porn right on your hand, and yet to have a connection and a depth with a partner that we still all really need and long for. So just a bit about how I got into this work. I became a massage therapist way back in the 80s. And I began to do body work, hands-on body work for therapists. We call them the neck up therapists, and people that work for and with me are called the neck down therapists. So when I started to work in a clinical setting as a hands-on therapist, I found that people were struggling so deeply from wounds that happened in childhood or wounds that they weren't even in touch with because they're buried so deeply in the body. So what we were doing at the office outside of Philadelphia was we were having clients come in for problems that were going on here, but really were originating here. And so for 20 years, we practiced and worked with other therapists and with other body workers until we've now created an institute where we do trainings, where I train what's called the talk pros or the neck up therapist to work alongside of the neck down or the touch pro therapist. Just like integrative medicine today is becoming more known and more accepted using complementary kinds of modalities along with the Western medicine, integrating the East with the West, we have done the same for the therapeutic process. We have brought together the Eastern philosophies of meditation and breath work, even acupuncture, yoga. We teach our clients how to get more present, more alive in their bodies. So we've brought over the Eastern practices, and we connect them and integrate them with the Western medicines and also the Western way of how we do the therapeutic process. So that's who I am and why I get to be here today. And so why Jerry is here, he's going to speak to what is it like being in a relationship with this woman that has men coming in and out, that you hear all kinds of stories, late life virgins. We hear people with dysfunctions. We hear couples having struggles and on the verge of divorce. And so he's the first person that usually hears about my latest client. And sometimes, even after 20 years, I'm curled up in a ball because I've heard a story that I thought I'd heard all the stories. At least I'd hoped I heard all the stories. And someone comes in with another story that sends me into the fetal position of what happens to us as children, what happens to us through trauma, what happens to us from some religious upbringings, what happens to us from just fear and disconnect with ourselves from the neck down. So, Jerry, tell them what a normal day with Dr. Kaye is like.
It's never boring. Susan and I have been together, 30... Well, we've known each other for 30 plus years.
Right.
Lived together the last,
20 years.
20 years. But in the cabin, so.
Yeah, true. We've only lived together maybe 7 years, 7 to 10.
Probably 8.
Okay, 8. We're struggling here with dates.
So anyway, part of our bond, or is it opposite attracts?
Opposites attract, yes.
Because I am fairly conservative. You might agree.
Well, you used to be, but we've whittled away at that. Yes, very conservative.
And she's pretty liberal, but
very liberal.
Yeah. So anyway, I've learned being with Susan that there are people out there with really, really bad problems and she can talk them through it. It's incredible what she can do, and I do. What I've learned is not to be judge, jury, executioner in my opinions and everything. So she's brought me along a long ways of tolerating things that not that I didn't tolerate it, but I just really didn't believe it existed. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we've met all kinds of people over the years. Right. It's really true. And you've done well in being introduced to someone who was a man and is now a woman, or accepting people that are gay, lesbian, and even now in our team approach that we have, because we have 8 teams across the country, and so we have all kinds of diversity and folks that work for us. We have a couple that goes by them and those. And I even have to get educated, and I struggle, and I ask my clients, please teach me, because I want to understand and I want to know. But in the bottom line of all of this is that we're all just human beings who want to be loved. Right. And my term for love is accepted. Accepted for what size I am, for what weight I am, what color my hair is, if I put purple and pink in my hair. We just want to be expressed and expressive of who we are, our own unique snowflake. And that's what I tell people who come to me and struggle inside of a family that's not who they feel they fit with. And I say, well, let's find out who is plain damn you. And in plain damn you, my plain damn you theory, I made it up, is it's called the thirds theory. And so the first third of who we are is what we come in with, the nature part of us, the biology. An egg and a sperm got together, and there was you. And so with that comes 7 generations of biology, of genetics, of the epigenetics, those things that we can't physically name or put our microscopes on, but they absolutely exist. The epigenetics that come in, like alcoholism and sexual abuse and other mental health or issues that we walk around with that can't be identified as biology or genetics. So that's the nature, the nature part, what you get. We don't have any say over that. And so the other third is the nurturing part. Like, where are you born? Are you born here in New York? Are you born out where I come from, the main line in Philadelphia, or outside of Austin, Texas? You know, where we're born, location, it just says and informs so much of who we become through, are we raised by parents? Are we raised in a foster home? Are we raised on the streets? So the nurturing we get, or lack of, which is a lot more of what I walk with, also we have no say over. We were born here, and this is what we dealt with, and somehow managed through to adulthood and find their way into my office. So when they get into my office, I'm like, what if it isn't about how you were born or how you were raised? What if the real secret to your happiness is finding out who is plain damn you? What is your fingerprint? What is your snowflake? and give permission for people to be outside of that normal box. It's a term I don't allow in my office. I don't allow people to say, I don't feel normal, or, am I normal if? Am I normal if I masturbate 10 times a day? Am I normal if I masturbate 10 times a year? Because we see the magazines, we're lined up at the grocery store, and there they are, 10 ways to make every woman go wild. And, some guy buys that magazine, he thinks, I've got the key to every woman's orgasm. And then he goes out, and that's not working. The girls aren't liking it. It's not what they want, because our largest sex organ really is communication. So we teach people first how to communicate with themselves. Every relationship starts with you. What's your relationship with yourself from the neck down? What's your communication? What kind of messages are you sending your body? And then we look at, okay, what is it now you share with a partner? So first comes you with you and you with other, and we muck through who is plain damn you, and working on the word normal turned into natural. So you've heard me do this before. Is there anything you want to comment about our third theory, or what it's meant for you?
No, it makes a lot of sense to me about the plain damn you part. There's things you can't change or do anything about, or you can try, but just seeing how you work with other people and you getting your team to work by that module, I can see it's opened up my eyes pretty much how to.
And you've met clients.
Right.
You've seen clients that have changed, and when you hear their story, it's impacted you.
Yeah, there was one woman, born male, female, and
the intersex.
Right.
Yeah, ambiguous genitalia. It's called intersexed.
She was more masculine than. So you said at birth they decide, okay, you're going to be a female, and just chop.
It's easier to make a hole than a pole.
So it was obvious to me that this person was a male. But she was grown up and raised as a female. Socialized, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I felt for her, or that person. So that's the plain damn you. You can't do anything about that.
That was a long time ago. I'm impressed that you remember her. Do you remember?
That helped me, excuse me, understand
early on
pretty much what your work is all about.
Yeah.
So.
And do you remember how she partnered?
No, I don't.
She was considered lesbian.
Right.
Because she was now looking like a female body, but all of her wiring, all of that that came in with her, who she was male. And she had gone through like 18 operations by the time she got to us. Yeah. And was then at, I think she was almost 30, wanting to figure out what would her relationships look like. She was working and struggling with herself, like the you with you part before, and then she ended up being lesbian, and not lesbian, but was she lesbian? She was really hetero.
Right.
But it looked lesbian, yeah. And she ended up being the only female on like a 30 male state trooper corps in Maryland. So, but yeah, you can only alter certain things about ourselves, and our highest suicide rates are from teens that realize they're different, they're trans, right, or they're gay, or they're lesbian, or they don't fit in somehow. And the modern day world that we're looking at, and intimacy, is harder for young people growing up, because now there's so much pressure to know everything about sex. When you were in high school, trying to figure it out, and you guys are looking at magazines or doing this, or nobody's talking about it. My parents don't sit me down and say, here's the book, if you have any questions. Who does that? And so we're so inundated, and everybody feels like they should know. But what happens is people isolate. I'm seeing my caseload change from 48-year-old males who were walking into aging at age 50, prostates, issues are on board, their penises aren't working like they used to, and their partners, well, they're not really interested in sex because they've got post-baby bodies, they've got a few extra pounds. Our culture's not too kind to women over 40. And so the women cut off from the neck down. And so then they cut themselves off from their partners. And the partners are going, I love her. I don't care if she has 10 more pounds. You know, I want a relationship, a sexual, sensual relationship. So that was mostly the clients we would see. Now it's 28-year-olds. They've been able to kind of slip through high school, you know, like before when I was in high school, those really shy kids, they forced themselves to ask somebody to go to the prom, or the girls would ask them to go to the prom, and, you know, they would go, hating it all the way, or being scared, or figuring, you know, I got to figure this out. Today, they don't have to do that. They can have a relationship with somebody right here,
just looking at their phone,
on their phone. But what's happening is at 28, those decades always bring up something. So they're sliding into 30, and they're seeing everyone around them, their friends, or the family's pressuring, like, when are you going to date or get married, or what's going on with you? And so they come into us because they now have to overcome 20 years of pushing down their shyness or their fear, or religious training that said, you don't have sex till you're married. But they're so stunted in their ability to reach out and connect that they don't even know how to start. So our caseload has really altered to these young folks.
Yep, I'm amazed at how many people do come to you. Like, I would never imagine so many 50-something-year-old virgins. And she says, well, I have another one this week. And
yeah, and the oldest one I had, was 70 years old.
That's right, yeah.
70-year-old virgin. So a male that had never been with a woman. He still lived at home with his mother, who was very sickly now, 90. But he was the only caregiver other than his sisters, who lived nearby. But they just put all this on him, all the burden was on him. So he grew up in a house of women who were not supportive of him having other female partners or friends or women, because they needed him. There was no dad. Right. And so he fulfilled the role of father and husband and took care of the house. So they used to give him money to go to the store, and he would tuck away the change, and he saved up, and we gave him a discount to come and see us. So he had his first kiss, his first hand holding, his first ability to be with a woman that in a sensual, sexual way that never would have happened. And once he was able to be sexual, that was it. We didn't see him anymore. No one happened to him. But we've had babies named after us. We've been to weddings because of the work that we've done, because we love our clients. We really get down in there with them. When you're touching someone, when you just caress their face in a way that they've never been touched before, or touch their hand, I teach a touch that's about receiving touch for sensation for yourself in that touch, rather than having that sensation get you somewhere with a partner. So we teach them how to receive, and I'll just touch a client's hand for like a couple minutes, and they just sit and stare at their hand. They'll look at their hand, and they'll look at me, and they look at their hand, and they say, I never felt that before. And I'll say, did you feel it anywhere else in your body? And some will say no, because they're scared. Or they'll say, I think I felt it in my heart. Like I felt something warm. Or some will say, yeah, I think my genitals moved, So I'm like, that's fine, because that means you're opening up. You're opening yourself up to sensation and to allowing yourself to feel and to share. And yeah, so anything else that you would like people to know about living with some wacky woman.
It's never boring.
It's never boring.
Never boring.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of fun. And we have our own little life together with a Scotty trailer and go camping. And
I remember when you were getting your PhD.
Yeah, you were there.
And she had to view videotapes.
Oh.
So she wouldn't have a bad reaction to someone that comes in and says,
right.
I do this with that or animals or whatever. And so she goes, here, I need to view these tapes and you can watch if you want. I'm like, I lasted about 5 minutes. I said, you're on your own, because if that person came in front of me and I was like, next, I couldn't. I could now probably, but then it was hard to tolerate.
Yeah,
so.
That's good. That's good. So. Yeah, like I said, I think we've heard it all, and people say, well, what's your most interesting case? And there was one where a guy was in love with a white alligator, and he carried this picture around, folded up in his wallet, of a white alligator. So when someone says to me, well, I've never told anybody this before, and, I hope I don't offend you, but I turn on to white alligators, or whatever they say. I'm like, really? So are you hurting yourself or anyone else? And he said, no, I'm just, I just like to self-pleasure to the picture of the alligator. So we worked through that, and then he wanted his family to know. So we practiced and rehearsed, and we had them all set up. One Thanksgiving dinner, he announced to his family, because he was a real hermit, like accountant type, kind of only in his head, went to his job, came home, didn't have anybody in his life, didn't want anybody in his life. He just wanted this to be okay. So we set it up. He told his family, and they were all accepting. They're like, we're glad you have something. So it really made him happy. So years later, this was in Philadelphia, years later at the Philadelphia Zoo, we find out that they've been gifted a white alligator. And in our office, we always wondered, was it him? Did he have something to do with this? But we didn't know. We didn't hear about it. So people walk with pain and trauma and upset, and no one will love me, and I'm just the weirdest one. I've had people come and say, you've probably never heard of this before, but I have a hard time ejaculating. I'm like, oh, okay. No, just, 9 out of 10 people. But everyone's pain is their pain. And we help them to see that we can overcome with support and guidance and acceptance. And that's what I really feel we offer. We offer for people to feel normal. And I'm working on a book, Am I Normal If? Because that's what they want to know. And I think that's what we all want to know. Am I normal? Am I lovable? Can I be accepted? And I'm grateful to have been able to walk with people who have altered their lives and thus altered the lives of others around them. So, hi, I'm Dr. Kaye, and I'm here with a couple, a modern-day couple, and we're going to talk about what does intimacy mean as modern-day couples today, with all that's on the internet, all that's on your phone, all this that's on magazines, and robots coming in. Like, what does it mean for intimacy for modern-day couples? So I don't know what their story is, but I'm going to conduct what I call an intake, and I'm going to find out what brings them here today, what is it they would like to talk about for themselves. Remember, it's for you with you first, and then it's for you with other. And then we'll look at what are they looking at together as a couple. So I have Gigi and Caleb. Who would like to go first?
Caleb.
Caleb wants to go first. Wasn't that nice of Caleb?
Since he always wants to be first when we,
Oh, here we're already getting started. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Caleb, how is it that you've come to be here? What would you like to take a look at with Gigi, with someone here to help maybe be like a translator or communicator for you?
Just someone to be a little bit more open when it comes to intimacy.
So with Gigi, you would like her to be more open about it. So what does open look like to you?
Putting the lights on.
Now this is his turn.
That could be one.
All right, now wait, whoa. Shh. When we're talking, and then it'll be
okay.
your turn. Okay.
Okay, my bad. My turn. Like she said, with the lights on, just a little bit more open.
So you would like the lights on?
Yes, I would
Okay.
like to see what I'm doing.
Okay. And so that's an issue that you two are working through.
That we're working through.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what else would open look like?
Open, just not being afraid to allow yourself the freedom to be relaxed and just release whatever that is causing you to be, that caused you to be, I can't even get the word out, to be stiffed.
So does it feel like anxiety
It could
to
be.
you? Or does it feel like protection, like there's some kind of, is there shyness or fear going on?
I think it could be that. It could be shyness and fear, protection, which is understandable because everybody has their little, certain areas that they don't want to cross because they don't want to feel vulnerable.
Vulnerability,
Right.
Great word. Okay, is there anything else, or is those two enough to take a look at?
That's enough.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the lights and to feel relaxed
Right.
and have the freedom to share
Yeah.
without anxiety
Right.
or being shy.
True.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Gigi, what has you here today? What would you like to take a look at?
I'd like to take a look at our way of how we communicate. Through
Verbally
sex,
or physically?
physically,
Okay.
and mentally.
Okay, mentally.
I
Could
feel
the-
like he's not there. His body's there, but he's not there.
So could that be emotionally?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel he's thinking of someone else
Oh, okay.
because he has cheated before. Even though he says eating ain't cheating.
Woo.
Okay.
So we getting open.
Yeah. How long is this show?
You want it to be open.
I think we're going to have a part 2. Okay, so you know what? Thank you for sharing that. Have you shared that with him before?
Yeah, but he listens. Sometimes I'm heard but not listened to, I feel.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, really good way to put it. So, can I go back to you, Caleb, about why she might feel guarded and protective?
Because of the mistakes that I have done.
So can you get that?
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah.
I can get that.
Yeah.
But that was a while ago.
Okay, so now you
That's
put
the-
but. What?
Yeah, but what about
no,
the-
no, ha. So here, you said but.
Right.
And you know what happens when you say but?
I know.
Everything you said before it,
Goes right
I
out
didn't
the
really
window.
mean it.
Right.
So I want you to say it again, and I want you to look at her and say it.
But
No, not
Which-
some of them, because of some of the mistakes I've made.
Mistake.
some of the mistakes I've made, I truly am sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just acting like a complete fool. Because sometimes you get I ain't gonna front, you get addicted to things that you used to do. And you gotta know now you're in a
Now, I want you to
relationship.
hold on, I'm going to stop you again, because this is powerful for you to learn to say I. Because when we say the word you, we put it out there where it's safe. It's not really about me. So I did things in the past. I want you to repeat what you said, what you want her to know, because I know that you want her to know this.
Right.
For things that I did in the
The
past.
things that I did in the past, I would love for you to forgive me. It's been a long time, and I'm a different person, and I've been there for you since after the fact. Ain't nobody else but you. Look at those eyes.
Okay, good. So, take a deep breath.
I forgave you a long time ago. I just don't forget.
Yeah.
And we've been together for 17 years. I never had a fight.
Never.
Never.
That's not always a good
You
thing.
know why?
So we should fight?
No, you know why we never had a fight?
Why?
Because we don't talk.
That's exactly right.
That is true.
And so that,
Wow,
right?
you are
So
opening
not
today.
fighting. Yeah.
Ooh.
Boy, Merry Christmas.
I know. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's Day. But so right? You're not heard. You said that. I don't feel heard, and our communication is down. I've forgiven him, but I can't forget because it's still part of my jigsaw puzzle. I look at people's jigsaw puzzles, and we get all these pieces from baby on in uterine on up, right? And if we have a big piece of jigsaw puzzle sitting on our heart, it's running the show. It's in control. We're not in control of it. So through communication, we can make it a little piece down in our foot. It's still going to be there, but it's not in charge of you. You can be in charge of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's like when you make a purchase, when you bought that strip pole, you didn't communicate with me about it.
No, because I thought you was going to get excited about it when I brought it. Because I brought it for you.
Well, you know what happens
No, I
when
bought
you
it for you.
assume. Okay.
Yes, for
Yeah.
me to enjoy the excitement of you on it swinging.
Okay, so I'm going to teach you a very powerful tool. Okay? There's two of them, actually. I'm going to teach you the 3-minute game. And one is called the 3-minute verbal game, and the other one's called the 3-minute physical game or touch game. First thing you do, well, you already have a timer because you have cell phones. I used to send everybody out to get, remember the old kitchen timers, right, or the hourglass? So for 3 minutes, you, Gigi, get to say, pick a topic. And you talk about that topic and stay on topic, because sometimes that's the hardest. Stay on topic. And for 3 minutes, you speak about what it felt like for me to, when you brought the swing home, or this is why I feel like I stiffen up, or this is what I would like from you in the bedroom, or, you know, when you come home at night. I want you to call my name and say, where are you? I need to see you right now. Come give me a kiss. You know, anything that would speak to your heart and have you be able to start to melt some of your fears. So you pick a topic. For 3 minutes, you talk about that topic. Timer goes off. You set the timer again. You, Caleb, give back what you heard her say. And if she says, not quite it, you set the timer again so that you feel heard. Because we think communication is about talking, and it's not. It is about listening, and it is about being heard.
Okay.
And it's
You
not
get
what
it?
you say, it's how you say it.
So that could be a topic for 3 minutes. What does that mean? He might not know what that means. What is that? Because I don't know what that means.
No, I don't. You have to elaborate on it more.
Well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can say,
Is it the tone?
it's time to, it's the tone.
Okay, so
And it's how you're putting sentences to action.
together. Okay.
Okay, so this is a conversation, you see. And you can find, there's lots of things you can find this, talk about for 3 minutes. Now, you don't do it more than like 2 or 3 times. If he's not getting it, because we'll pick it up next Tuesday. Every Tuesday night's our communication night, whatever. Start to put structure in your communication and your togetherness. The other 3-minute game is same thing, set the timer. And you do a touch exercise that one is the giver and one's the receiver. So say you're the receiver, okay? So for 3 minutes you ask, may I touch your hair? And you get to say yes or no. And I want you to close your eyes so that you feel it. I want you to have your eyes open as the giver. May I touch the left side? So you're moving around, and you leave off breasts and genitals for the first. This is like to learn to ask for what you want, to say yes and no. Because I want you to say no at least once. And you don't say, what do you mean, why not? You say, well, then you go on to the next thing. And so we learn to handle yes and no. We learn to honor our partner's no's. Okay? And so then when the timer goes off, you switch. You become the giver, you're the receiver.
I like that.
And then there's
I always
another.
wanted to touch the back of your little ponytail. You never let me touch.
Well, he's allowed to say no. That's okay. So you go on to something else. There's lots of other juiciness going on here, I can see. So the second one is, will you touch my hair? So the next segment, so there's the may I and the will you. Will you touch my hair? Will you touch my cheek? Will you touch my face? Will you touch my ponytail? Whatever it is that you want to share and get lost in. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just grab my butt?
No, I didn't. As you can see, my hands are that was in your thought pattern.
Well, thank you so much for your courage and bravery.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Speaking up, yeah. So you've opened a crack here.
And I truly have to say this. Thank you for this show, because this show has definitely opened our relationship. Now I'm knowing certain things that I need to work on for you.
Look what we did in,
Still
7
keeping the
minutes?
lights off.
Just by giving honesty an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right. And, coming from our hearts is where love comes from, acceptance comes from, and our honesty, because we want to feel good about ourselves. Because if we don't feel good about ourselves, it's hard to really feel good about what's going on with partners.
True.
And that's why partners stray, because it's like, well, I'm not feeling good, so if I go over here, maybe I'll feel good. But it's that there's not communication here about what do we need to feel good.
Right. And acceptance.
Acceptance is the bottom line.
I want her to know that, true.
It really
And
is for all of us.
Appreciation. I work all day and I say the same thing. And I sit at a desk and I say, thank you for coming, thank you for coming, thank you for coming. You don't get it. I work at a sperm bank. And I just want to say
no pun intended, but I was going to let it go.
You just tell her.
You're going to let it go, so I had to.
Okay.
This was great.
All
This was
open.
Okay. Well, thank you again for coming in.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your courage to step forward.
Thank you.
So this is Dr. Kaye and my wonderful guests and my partner, Jerry. Thank you to everyone who's participated in getting this conversation out to those folks who hear this and say, that's me. That's my partner. That's my relationship. Or that's what I want for myself. And maybe this gives you hope and encouragement that there really is possibility and potential for you to live the life that you love. Thank you.
And love the life that you live.
And love the life you live.
Thank you again, Dr. Kaye.
Yes.
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
Would you like some cake? We have cake.
Oh, what
cake
kind
on
of
the
cake?
side.
Jerry will have cake.
Yes. Pleasure.